It's not going to be easy, but I'm going to tell you how you can study an entire subject in just one day and study it in a way that is effective so you genuinely remember all of the content, rather than just skim reading a bunch of textbook pages and calling it a day. That's never going to work. Today, you're going to be doing 9 hours of work. That is a lot of work, but it's condensed into one day, and if you hadn't had the need to cram, then you wouldn't need to do this. So I did say it was going to be intense. You're going to start by narrowing down on 6 key topic areas. Now, in a lot of subjects, there actually are only 6 topic areas, in which case you're doing every single one of them. In some subjects, this means you're missing out certain topics. That is because it is quite literally impossible to review every point on the specification in a lot of detail in one day without absolutely dying. So you can add on extra hours to this. I would not necessarily recommend it. What I would recommend instead is for you to pick out the key 6. Because in almost every subject, for example, chemistry GCSE, there are going to be topics that are slightly less important because they're testable, but they're mainly only testable in 6 markers. That's like chemistry of the atmosphere. You don't really need to know it. A lot of it is common sense. I'm sure you do know the bits that you need to know. Focus on the other things. And you can do this for the majority of subjects. For something like English, for something that is a bit more exploratory, what you can be doing is picking out 6 themes, 6 concepts. For example, if you're trying to revise the entirety of Macbeth, then you might pick out a bunch of characters, Macbeth, Lady Macbeth, Banquo, the witches, and you might pick out some themes as well, ambition and leadership, whatever it is. You're going to pick out those things, and now we're going to plan the day. You're going to skim the syllabus of this subject and just look for any key themes, anything that is recurring, anything that you've been coming back to. You don't even need to do this, just think about what your teacher has been saying. Are there any key ideas that you really need to get into your head? Can you look through some past papers that you've already done and just see where your errors were made? Those are things that are urgent priority, and we'll be starting with them. And building on that, you should really be prioritizing all of the topics that you've just picked out by weakness, starting with the things that are hardest, starting with the things that you're worst at. That is not going to feel natural. You're going to want to start with the things that you're good at. But for the vast majority of the people, getting the hard stuff done first is the best thing you can do. Some people will literally only work if they know they have that boost. They know they've got something done. And in that case, if you know you're that kind of person, you might want to start with something easier. But for most people, I wouldn't recommend it. Okay, your day is going to start at 9 o'clock. Between 9 and 10, you're going to do 50 minutes of work on the first topic. This is going to be split into 25 minutes of work, a 5-minute break, 25 minutes of work, and a 5-minute break. You're going to focus purely on active recall. So if this is a subject that is like physics, chemistry, maths, very sort of question-based, you're just going to go straight on to practice questions. Don't be doing past papers, however. Just do practice questions based on this topic. If you're unsure where to find questions grouped by topic, you can find so many on Physics and Maths Tutor, Save My Exams, Madass Maths, resources like this. So you're going to get those questions done. Then between 10 and 11, you're going to do the exact same thing, but for the second topic. You're going to take a longer break between 11 and 11:15, then 11:15 to 12:15. You're going to do the exact same thing for the third topic. Between 12:15 and 1:15, you're then going to review the fourth topic. Between 1:15 and 1:30, you're going to briefly review the first 4 topics that you have just covered. So that is not going through absolutely everything, but that is, as you had been doing these practice questions, what you should have been doing is every time you got something wrong, you should write down exactly what that thing was that tripped you up onto a cheat sheet. Whether it was you not understanding a definition, misinterpreting a question, forgetting a key concept, it's going to go on this cheat sheet. And in that 15 minutes, you're basically going to read over the cheat sheet and then cover the cheat sheet and see if you can remember all of the information from it. You're going to grab some lunch between 1:30 and 2 p.m. I know that's not a long time, but this is a day where you have got to put in the work, and it is, like I said, going to be intense. Between 2 and 3, you're going to do topic 5, and between 3 and 4, you're going to do topic 6. Now you have covered all of the topics. It's 4 p.m. It's time to move on. You're going to have a bit of a break between 4 and 4:15, and then from 4:15 onwards, you're going to do a timed past paper on the subject, on the particular paper that you are going to be having very soon. I presume if you're doing a full day of cramming, it's because you've got an exam pretty much the next day, in which case make sure your past paper is for the correct paper that you're going to be taking. Once this past paper is over, you're going to take half an hour to mark it thoroughly, go through the mark scheme, making sure that if you get a question wrong, you're identifying exactly what tripped you up. Make sure you read the examiner's report afterwards, and then you're going to add to your cheat sheet, and that is your full day. Ideally, if you've got the time this evening, what you want to do is the last thing you do before you pack up and go have dinner is going to be to read over your cheat sheet. And then just before you go to bed, you're going to do the same thing. But crucially, you're going to read over it, and then you're going to put it away, and then you're going to see if you can remember everything once again, and you're going to repeat that process in the morning as well. What that's going to do is put everything on your cheat sheet into your short-term memory, meaning you're going to be able to recall it in an exam, even if you couldn't recall it the day before. So that is how you cram a whole subject's worth of content in just a single day. Good luck on your exams this exam season. I really hope this video helped. As ever, be sure to subscribe if you enjoyed this video and want to see more videos like it. And if you have any questions, do let me know in the comments.